Hey, today I'm gonna be going over Acid Crest. Acid Crest is the first game I ever released online as a WebGL or otherwise. It was my first game ever that I officially finished. It was my first game. It was like this is the game that I was the proudest of ever. But there's a lot of cut content in Acid Crest, so I just wanted to show a few things. Like, for example, there's this PC right here that you can actually log into. Let me use the username and password. So if I use this username and this password and I log in, you can actually see that there's actually content. And if I click one of these, it will tell me that invalid scene name, empty string. These were actually supposed to bring me to different scenes, which is quite inefficient. I should have just done it in the UI. But what I think what I was going to do with this is I'm going to make it so you have to actually navigate the computer, check out some lore here, maybe play a little small mini game, and you had to click this to progress into the game. I just think this is pretty interesting. And yeah, so we can go over some like files. For example, we have my title screen name file, but something like more interesting is in the scenes folder. We have a bunch of different scenes. For example, we can just go through. In the WebGL version, you can't see it, but you actually we come to find that there are cutscenes of actual video in the game, and these are different, I guess. Let's check this out. I don't know what it is, so I'm gonna be viewing it. How did you survive? How are you breathing in space? Okay, so I get it. So originally, what was gonna happen is I guess that animation would play, but I never actually really properly finished that animation. It looks pretty janky. It looks pretty bad. So I mean, this looks like a cutscene. So, if you want to check that out in slow-mo, you can go back. I'm not going to save anything. So let's check this out. So the first thing we have is we can see actually full views of levels. Like, for example, this is the hotel. Some pretty badly scaled cars. The shading is poor. The machines are weird. You can see how everything intertwined. Let's go to the Beat Crab boss. I actually updated this in the new update. I just made it so that it was a bit more interesting. Let's go to the credits. Credits aren't very exciting. It's just a timer on 60 seconds. If we go to cutscene light, so this is what the cutscene light outside looks like. It's just got a bit more table. You can't see this stuff out because it's outside the camera. If we go to Dark Hall, this is what it looks like. You actually have a hack. If you go to the left, you can hit enter and immediately skip the entire tutorial. And this is an exploit I put in because I was sick and tired, and I knew other people might find it out because going right usually is progression and going left is is like downgrading. That's not a political statement. Don't take it as one. And going right usually is the better way, because that's just part of the human brain. I think I'm not sure. Anyway, we have David level. So David was one of the people who actually worked on this game. On some of the level design, gave good insight to what I should add in some of the levels. So this level is actually really funny. To understand why this level is like this, you got to understand what the game originally was going to be. So originally it was going to be you would finish a level, go to the next one, and you couldn't go back. Well, I think you could go back once, but that's irrelevant. But yeah, this is a trash level where you would basically dig through the trash with your gun. And yeah, this is all the trash. This is an insane amount of garbage. And you would jump over, you would like jump over these with like bomb jumps, and you would finish in the exit. If we go to death, we can see that there's actually, let me play this out, because there's a video in the background that does not compile in the final build. Now the video looks like this, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool effect, but I forgot that WebGL does not support that large of a file size. That like videos, I think, is the size of the game. Explosion. Same thing with this. Once right before the ending or right before the credits, you see this screen. It's actually and yeah, I think that was pretty funny. It was pretty sad though. Here you have a nice the ferry in its entirety, and surprisingly, if you never noticed, the background is an actual photo. I don't know where this is. It's just a photo of a setting where you would have a ferry, but you can't tell what it is when you're zoomed in, so it just looks pretty weird. Final blow, again, good fun to look from a distance. Really poorly scaled sprite, really poorly scaled mini sprites down here. I really don't appreciate how much I slacked on this part of the game. Here's the get key scene. You got a key, you got a key. This is actually, the text changes, so it doesn't have a default. That is interesting. Karina level. This is, I think this is supposed to be actually just a default that you would duplicate and work off of this. Level bounce. This is another cut level from the game in the linear version. This one you would play in zero gravity. You would destroy these consoles, and the movement was pretty, actually it was pretty funny. I really appreciate the movement in this because it's just insanely weird, and you can bump around and you can just swing, and it's really fun to play. Let's check level David out. So this is another level named after David. Now this level, if you've ever played my game, you know my game is really bad as in level design, and this is because me and every other level designer, we were thinking in a fun perspective, something that is totally ridiculous, and we poorly designed every level. For example, you actually have to go underneath this machine, walk in a secret passage, fall down here, and then jump inside of the middle of the acid, which is horrible level design, to actually get into this area. Then you have a key that's all the way down here, and you have one where you have to super bomb jump all the way up these 2 stories all the way here. And there's a fish that walks right here. So if you don't know about it, you will get hit and you'll probably die with these bots. That's a poor level design. If I was redesigning the level, if I was re-releasing the game, I would move this section and I'd make it so that there would maybe be an explosion that would clearly open a passage, or maybe make the passage open except for this one tile. Second, I'd make the acid clearly indicated that it's not acid, or even move this entrance to the side or something, because this is really poor level design. This is what? Level David. Next level is level template. So again, this is a template level. It doesn't have the little stuff, it just has the exit right here. It has the alligator man, snacks, and a boxes machine. Now, these boxes machine are pretty weird because the collectible system, I think I removed it, but it might give you a bit of an error, but I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't used this in a while. Level template. Level. Just level. Level is the level select, and it just looks like this from the outside. It's really bland. Level 1 is the maze. This is the maze in its entirety, if you ever wanted to know what that looked like. This is what you call a perfect soft lock if I had not added a death barrier. I think I did. I hope I did. Why did I open this up? I have no idea. Main menu. This is what the main menu looks like. Just at a glance, Acid Crest, version 1.7. New level. Now this level was it's called Bot Farm. This is very farmy looking. You got these things that come here. There's like these snacks and boxes. I think this is one of the nicest looking levels out of all of them. Made by Karina. Same one mentioned in the real Karina level. This level I forgot who designed. I forgot who designed a lot of these, but this one is the biggest level in the game, I think. besides the fairy. It has the most keys, I'm pretty sure, and it has the most ambitious parts. For example, it has this area where you have one-way platforms, but you don't know what indicates that the platforms are one-way. So it's really poorly made. Stats upgrading. I normally stats are people who want to grind out coins. It's time to spice things up. I think this menu looks pretty awful, but it was still a huge upgrade from no upgrades. Okay, so Strange was a weird level because I made it so that everything looked upside down. Can I even play this? I don't think I can do some things because there's no reference exceptions. Yeah, I can't. I can. Okay, so you can see that's kind of doing some weird stuff, but you know, I just like to appreciate that it's just atrociously weird. This entire thing, whatever it is, it's like it's just poorly. You can't even jump, right? I don't know. I just feel like, yeah. Okay, that one level, this was also a level that never made the cut. The World of Nice. Okay. Volume warning. I remember this. Yeah, so I'm not going to do that all the way, but this level, I was fooling around, okay? When you got a game engine, you got to fool around in it. This is what the tutorial looks like. There used to be a room right here, but it was cut out. This is what the first tutorial looks like. You've got some lights down here that you can't actually see during normal gameplay. And I think this is a horrible tutorial. This is it's a tutorial. It's horrible. It's in the dark. You can't see the sprites. Like, you can't see an animation indicating what you should do. Big shout out to Ben, though. He helped me fix up some issues. Virtual computer. I showed this off in the beginning. I think it's pretty interesting. To have the login. You have beaten the game. Now go outside of it. Some sassy text telling you that you are lazy. I don't know. Now that we've reviewed a bunch of cut content from the game, I think that it's more than fair that we go into this scripts and we just take a nice, fresh look at our player controller. Now, if you're a Unity programmer, I will guarantee you that you will cringe along with me at the awful habits. So welcome to a brand new episode called What You Don't Do in Programming, and some of what you do in programming. So let's just take a good look here. First, you have headers. This is a good habit. This is approved by me. This is officially approved. Now, let's see this start function. First, I would recommend that I would wrap this all inside of one function. But okay. Let me get some things straight. Let me go through this code. When the game starts, they play the footsteps. Now I know why this is a reason. I didn't know what animation events were. So every time you're moving, it just makes the volume of the footsteps 1, and when you're not, it makes it 0. So this is a pretty cool workaround, really poor execution. Okay, so you initialize the rigid body and the animator. This is pretty fair. I think most people do these days unless they drag it in, but I prefer to initialize it through the start. I'd put this in its own function called initialize values, though. Same thing with this. I'm just setting the health value. I'd also have this return the instance, so I can just have it say stats. I just have something called stats. Initialize elevator music. So I think that the elevator music was cut out of the game. It's just like, why does it, what if I comment this out? Does it still play? Like, this is something I have no idea because I haven't looked at this code in a while. So I think it'd be probably pretty funny if it actually played. Let's go to the These are really poorly named, by the way. When you name your levels, make sure it's named something that's very understandable. Okay, so the music actually doesn't play. As expected, it probably was removed from the game completely. Private void fixed update. Okay, so we get move input, which is a float, I'm guessing, up here, and we set it to the horizontal axis. Oops, that was a mistake. Then we set my velocity to my movement input times the speed. And okay, so this is pretty basic. See, in my newer player controllers, I actually watched a few tutorials. I upgraded this so it would actually have some dampening. It would feel nicer to the touch. We have a classic is grounded check. I still do not use this, except now I use an overlap box so that for a very specific reason, and that reason I'm going to open up Paint. You know I love Paint if you've talked to me before. But if this is your ledge, and this is your player, if you check a circle under the player, you will get a problem where when you're still standing on it sometimes, the circle will return null. That's why I check with a box, because if you check with a box, not this size, just not to scale, I'm just giving an example, you actually can kind of walk off and it will still consider you not falling. Just very simple. We have some Booleans. Instead of setting a Boolean is walking, I would just set a float and then I would do the math inside of the animator. Is grounded to grounded. You have a flipping function. I think I still use this flipping function. I might not, and I might have upgraded for something else. But yeah, is grounded. And okay, so I can turn on these footsteps, and I stop playing these footsteps. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the fixed update. I don't know why I'm doing this in the fixed update though. Display stats. So I have my stats being displayed right here. I'm checking if I start a coroutine for the player death. Now, okay. Right here, I'll give you a good word of advice. Don't use enumerators or coroutines, as you may know them. And I'm not going to get into that discussion because I've gone to someone else. Don't use them for something like this. Use animator events. This is so much better. You can see I yield return null for 3 seconds once right here. And it's because I could just do this in the animation. It's very simple. Okay, this is why I really don't like coroutines for something as important as player death. It works, but it's pretty suspicious. If I'm grounded, I just got my extra jumps. I actually can't jump more than once, so that doesn't really matter. This is just my jumping function. I'm not going to really go over this. If you hit P, you actually load into the scene at number 1 slot, which is a hack, I guess, if you wanted to speedrun and break the game, kind of. Okay, we have an on trigger enter on slot. Let's check everything. Apparently, bots are triggers. S-bots are triggers. Money is a trigger. Elevators are triggers. The floor is a trigger. The delivery box is a trigger. Instant death is a trigger. Checkpoint is a trigger. And I used to have checkpoints. Keys are triggers. And simple dialogue. Dialogue people are triggers. If I stay in the elevator, stay in front of the snack machine, I feel like all of this could be done with a raycast and you just click on it if you want. Like, you've got all this junk. You exit the elevator, you exit the simple dialogue, and yeah, you buy some snacks, you buy a box, and buy box effect, buy snack effect. Again, animations. Like, animations. Delays. Just don't avoid enumerators. This is just locking the player movement. You know, reviewing that one code script, I can guarantee that I got better than I was a year ago or 2 years ago, whenever I made this. I think it was 2. And I guarantee that you will too if you're in the same situation. Like, honestly, my thing was pretty poorly scripted, and now my stuff is better scripted than it was. Way better scripted than it was a long time ago. So, yeah. Yeah, make sure to... I mean, that was my self-review, I guess. It's a pretty 20-minute long video. I'm just going to dump this out because I think it's just a pretty good archive of my stuff. But, yeah, hope you enjoyed.